I'm Cape Joel, and this is Comic Smack, your weekly, daily, all the time, anytime comic show where I give you your fix of everything you need to know from the world of comic books and superheroes. And on today's show, we're taking a closer look at Spider-Man issue number 28, when Norman Osborn threatens the world with a dangerous goblin bomb. Will Spider-Man and his amazing friends be able to overcome? Well, let's hop on in together and find out, shall we? Alright then, so as we join the comic, we check on back with Peter, Silver Sable, and the rest of the Wild Pack, who are watching in horror as Norman launches a warhead with a terrifying goblin serum payload. Spider-Man says they'll need to storm the castle and capture Norman because there's no doubt some sort of recall, switch, or self-destruct protocol on him. I mean, this isn't Spider-Man's first rodeo with a big missile. He actually says that too. I'm not, overreacting for comedic effect here. There's actually several times throughout this issue where Spider-Man is almost painfully self-aware, like he knows these events are trite and cliche. The team decides to split up and go on their different groovy ways to try and stop the crisis. Mockingbird by far gets the crappiest end of the stick, having to hop on the missile like this was Dr. Strangelove and disarm it. She is, however, smart enough to call Nick Fury and the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for help, even though she did resign in the previous issue. Man, here's hoping she didn't leave too badly. You really don't want to burn a bridge with a super spy agency, do ya? Now, once inside the castle, Silver Sable breaks off to have herself a Highlander fight with the Countess. They make a lot of grandiose speeches about how this is what's best for the nation and blah 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 blah, and Sable certainly had more dogs in this fight than anyone else. I just kind of can't bring myself to care in the here and now. But what about the main event, Spider-Man versus Norman? How on earth are they going to make this a climactic battle at all now that Norman has no goblin serum in him and is, for all intents and purposes, not even really the Green Goblin anymore? Well, for that, Dan Slott decides to use his vast knowledge of Spider-Man canon to dig up an old story point from an issue 98 all the way back in 63, a story basically wherein the Green Goblin used a purple mist to take away Spider-Man's sticking powers. He more or less uses the same trick here, only it also saps Spider-Man of his amazing spider strength. Peter says that while the Green Goblin was a villain who would never repeat gimmicks, Norman Osborn is different. He's more predatory and he'll do whatever it takes to win. Up to and including using a series of electric shocks and EMPs to mess with Spider-Man's new super advanced Parker Industries style suit. Why Norman even goes as far as to say that if he had just used his regular old ghetto Reb shooters, he wouldn't be in this situation right now. This is supposed to make Norman and Peter on more even footing, but even still what it basically boils down to is Spider-Man knocking around what is essentially a senior citizen in the snow. The bomb is ultimately defused. Spider-Man wins his fist fight. Silver Sable wins her fight because of course they do. The agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. swoop on in to help out. Nick Fury's not happy with Parker and decides to pull all funding from Parker Industries. But the day is ultimately still saved, and Aunt May and Harry end up coming in with the Uncle Ben Foundation to help all the people harmed by Osborn and the Countess, so it's still a good win, I guess? Norman himself manages to evade capture some way and vows revenge on Spider-Man once again, but not as Norman Osborn. Oh no, he says to truly destroy Spider-Man, he must once again become one with his own personal demon. He must become the Green Goblin. So that was Amazing Spider-Man number 28, and ultimately it was a pretty forgettable finale to what was a pretty forgettable arc. Oh, there was a germ of a good idea here and there, like Spider-Man perhaps becoming too advanced for his own good and needing to get back to his roots to defeat one of his classic enemies, but it's not really given much time to play. Norman talks about how at the end of the day Spider-Man really instigated this fight because he was feeling bad about everything that happened with the clones, and as such he agitated Norman, who wasn't really hurting anyone, well, except for all the people he was actually hurting, but The story also tries to lampshade and be more self-aware, saying like, hey, what's up with all of Spider-Man's villains wanting to turn people into stuff, either lizards or goblins or carrion zombies? It's always something with them. But, you can lampshade as much as you want about how played out a certain story element is. At the end of the day, you're still doing it. When you do it multiple times in a row, it loses its impact. Overall, I'd give this story a 5 out of 10. It was the definition of meh meh. Next up, we have Secret Empire tie-ins, which means we'll get to see the Superior Octopus back again, and I'm hoping that will be better. So, there you go, everyone. There's your Spider-Man fix for the week. I hope you enjoyed the video, and while you're still watching, why not check out some of these other videos that I did from throughout the week. We got Batman's Marriage, we got more Secret Empire, and if you want to keep up to date on everything that's coming out of the Cape Joel channel, might I recommend following me on Twitter at Cape Joel, or checking out some of my other social media feeds down in the description. And if you're feeling in a charitable mood and like the work I put out, might I recommend becoming a patron. Patrons get exclusive access to podcasts and videos before anyone else, and you can do so for as little as $1 a month. You'd be helping me out, you'd be helping yourself out, everybody would win. So until next time, everyone, this has been Cape Joel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again in another video. Bye-bye.